Hey guys, Kendall with BlackOvis, and I'm out today. Want to do a comparison between water filters. And in the past, if you're like me, if you're old school, you've used more pumps than you care to ever use in your lifetime. In the last 10 or so years, gravity filters have become the way to filter water, especially in high capacity situations. So I've got 3 filters here. I've got the Katadyn BEFREE Gravity, I've got the Platypus Gravity Works, and I've also got the MSR AUTOFLOW XL Gravity. All 3 of these, they're not exactly the same. I chose these because there's slight differences between the 3. MSR does have a reservoir, a dirty to clean reservoir system, but wanted to highlight these 3 and show you some details, show you how they work. We're here just literally 5 minutes off my commute to the office. You wouldn't know it, but that's what's so rad about being here in Utah. So follow along as we jump into each of the features for each one of these filters. So first, let's talk about the Katadyn. Katadyn is maybe a brand you haven't heard a lot about. They're literally one of the leader in filtration. They've got some really high quality filters. This one is unique because the filter, the BEFREE filter, is actually in the bag. It comes as a separate piece. It's just a little teeny guy. I used the predecessor to this and it was much, much bigger and exposed. They've now added this kind of plastic on the outside of the filter module. So that actually goes inside the bag, very unique. It's a 10-liter bag. So in this case, for the Katadyn, you're going to need a second reservoir to put water into, whether that's like this Sea to Summit, a Nalgene, like this dromedary bag, any of these guys I take into the backcountry. So this one's pretty unique. 10 liters, water goes in, easily just gravity filters out. Over here on the Platypus, this one is the 4-liter. It's a bag to bag. So versus having, like the Katadyn has the filter inside the bag, the Platypus is an inline. As you know, the GravityWorks, it goes from the dirty bag to the clean bag. The cool thing about this is if you have the 6-liter version, then you've got 12 liters capacity. You filter into the clean, load up your dirty, and you can just let that filter whenever back at camp or right next to the water source, wherever you might be. This one's the 4-liter. On the MSR, it's an inline filter, but it's a bag, and there's not a secondary bag. They do have a version that is a bag to bag. I chose this one because it's kind of mixed between the Katadyn and the Platypus. 10-liter capacity, again, dumping it into, you have to have a secondary location, whether that's a bladder that's in your pack or like this, the water cell, Sea to Summit. These are the ones I really like, as well as the dromedary bag from MSR, which is the equivalent for this. So 3 different styles, all based on gravity. I literally, guys, I can't stress this enough. In hunting situations or backpacking hunting situations, this is the easy way to go. In my opinion, I don't mess around with the pumps. I do take a steri pin into the backcountry as a backup if I'm away from camp or away from these guys, but under 1 pound on all 3 of these. They all pack down very nicely, very small. They all eliminate protozoa and bacteria. 99.9%, according to the EPA guidelines. So all extremely well. It really just matters what is your preference and what style do you prefer. That's why hopefully by watching this video, you'll catch up on, you'll be able to figure out what you really like or what you might want to try. All right, I'm down here by my water source and I've got the Katadyn BEFREE Gravity. So I'm gonna pull this out of the bag. You've got the filter, this little guy that goes on the bag itself, and these interface, you just screw this in. Pretty simple there. Want to prep that. You got your outlet hose in this bag. You don't have to use this bag, but it's nice to keep it clean and separate. And then obviously the filter itself, or the bag itself. The bag, 10 liters. You screw this guy on. This is different than the other 2 that we're going to look at today. It's got a quick release valve on the front, so you just put that bad boy in just like that. It clips, and now you're really ready to get water. The 2 things on this one, either A, you can clip it around, just like a couple hitchhikers, and then close it up. You don't have to close this up. I've done it many times where I've just had it open. You can roll this and then snap it, as I'll show in just 1 second. So again, pretty simple here. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna disconnect this and I'm gonna fill up the reservoir. Boom, there you go. 10 liters of water, not too bad. So I'm gonna roll the top down. Make sure you keep your the clips out. Do like 2 or 3 rolls. Again, you don't have to. I'm gonna snap that. Once you've done that, insert the hose. See, it's a little awkward by yourself, but definitely doable. Make sure you've got this cinched so that as soon as you gravity up, that water's gonna flow out in just 1 second. I couldn't get 10 liters. It was gonna snap that trekking pole, and there wasn't anything around. I've just hooked it onto this log. Like, honestly, when I'm in the backcountry in Colorado, we're above tree line, so we use rocks. We'll take a little stick and wedge it above rocks, or we'll simply put it on like a rounded rock surface. I just want to get gravity to allow it to do itself. So I've got this set up here. I'm gonna fill up this Sea to Summit water cell. It does come with this little handy, I don't know, kind of piece on the end. I don't know what you call it. I don't use this normally, but once you're ready to filter, get your bottle in place, open that up, and water's flowing. The hose, when it comes from the manufacturer, has these little kinks in it. So make sure you get those kinks out, because I did notice that was inhibiting flow the first time I used it. I think it's just what it comes packaged. You can see the water's flowing pretty dang solid at that point. The Katadyn doesn't really have like adapters. That's the one cool thing. You know, the Platypus, the 4-liter system, the GravityWorks that I have, does not come with all the little gadgets. MSR, as I'll show you here in a second, does. It's got a little adapter that connects like to a bottle like this, to like my Nalgene here, to any of the smallmouth like Platypus or Hydropack or any other pieces, any other little small bottles. So that is kind of a nifty feature if you're running multiple bottles. But if you're going on a backcountry hunt, or you're just simply trying to minimize the amount of stuff that you've got, I've never really been bummed out or felt like I couldn't do what I wanted to do with the Katadyn or with the Platypus system without all the little adapters. One of the things I really like about it is it's a very, very big bag. It's super robust. It doesn't feel like it's wimpy in any sort of manner. The filter being inside, I have had problems in the past. Their recommended cleaning is simply running clean water over it and kind of swishing it. I have found that to be useful and helpful. My first time using it, after about 2 or 3 gallons, see, I was filtering for a crew, a bunch of us that were doing a 50-miler with the Scouts. I did have some issues with it, so be sure that in any of these gravity filters, you're either backflowing or cleaning out that filter, like in the Katadyn. As far as simplicity, I really love this particular system. However, on the GravityWorks, which you'll see in a second, it is nice to have a secondary bag that you can load back to a camp if you're some distance from a water source. Okay. So the Katadyn boasts that it fills at 2 liters per minute, which I thought was going to be a little excessive, but honestly, 4 minutes, 15 seconds to fill this 4-liter water cell from Sea to Summit. So pretty dang accurate, and I certainly have overfilled it. It's all the way to the brim. So yeah, 2 liters a minute, that's pretty dang fast. Let's see what the others can do. So I've got the MSR AUTOFLOW. This is the XL, the gravity filter. This is similar to the Katadyn in that it has a single bag. The second, the differentiating feature is that it's got an inline filter. I've already set this up So obviously it gives you some instruction, dirty water, clean water. The quick disconnect is a pure giveaway. Like I mentioned before, this the MSR does include, it's got a little instruction thing inside the bag, but it does include a cap that will allow you to attach this to multiple bottles and different, whatever you're carrying. So it is a nice little feature. I don't think it's super necessary, quite frankly, but it is a convenience, especially if you're trying to, if you want to just set it and forget it as far as walk away from a Nalgene or from a bladder that you're filling up. So this is a pretty cool little add-on, or a piece that's part of the system as it comes, but something that I personally don't necessarily use. One of the differentiating features as well on this bag is it's got this kind of that hard Cordura kind of like fabric. This is similar to the dromedary bag. So if you're familiar with the dromedary bag from MSR, this is like the Drom Light bag. This is like the regular dromedary bag. So you can fill this up and basically set it down on, you know, on the ground or on the dirt, or if you're in a situation and it's not going to puncture, because the upper material is a little, not fragile, but it's not quite as super durable. So again, we're going to go to the water's edge. Try not to stir it up, because I don't really want to get, I mean, even though it says filters, I don't want to get a ton of like just particles or particulates in here that will clog up the filter over time. That's going to be plenty. That's 8 liters on one, basically 2 scoops. I literally believe that you could do a group of 3 or 4 hunters with one of these if you coordinate the use and whatnot. That's what we do in the, you know, when I go on in Colorado every year, backpack hunting. There's 4 of us and we use one system. But I'm going to roll this guy over. Not as easy as the Katadyn. And I've got a bunch of air in there. I don't really care. I'm not really worried about that. It says to roll it 4 times. I think I rolled that 3, and we're ready to filter. One of the cool things about this MSR system is the flexibility. Like you saw on the Katadyn, we just hung it off of a log, off a stump. This one is pretty sweet because I've got it clipped into both hooks. I'm going to unhook this, wrap it around this little tree branch, and then just snap it back in. Let's get this guy, there we go. I'm going to cinch it down just a little bit. Voila, I'm stoked, I'm ready to go. So just get super creative. It doesn't have to be that perfect limb or whatever. All you need really is gravity. So I'm gonna quick connect that guy. Got my my water cell again. Remember to keep this guy always connected, otherwise the water's immediately gonna flow. The second I undo that, you can really see that water flowing down there. Even on a little bit of an uphill swing like that, I'm still getting water flow. I'm gonna move this downhill so I have gravity working with me and not against me. You can see the water's flowing super quick through this. That's a pretty steady stream. We'll see how quick it goes. One of the benefits of the MSR system is having that filter on the external side. Why that might be, it's just different, but I think the cleaning, even though the Katadyn you can just shake free, I get a sense of like accomplishment maybe by filtering or backflowing through this. And you can backflow at any point in time. Simply have a water source like this one of clean water. You always want to use clean water when you're backflow cleaning, and run that the opposite direction, or put clean water in this reservoir, reverse the direction here and clean that out. Same thing with the Katadyn with the Platypus, as I'll show you here shortly. If you want to use this attachment that comes from MSR, you simply put the hose in this piece right there on this side, and then you have really a myriad of options based on the size of the bag or bottle you're filling. This guy actually screws right on top of there, which I'm not gonna lie, that's crazy convenient, especially here because I'm on the side of this like little hill, or I'm on the side of the trail, just up from where I pulled water. So that is really nice if you literally just want to set it and forget it and go about doing whatever else you need to do for a few minutes and then come back to your bladder. One other tip on using this adapter that MSR provides is when you do that on this bladder that's a soft bladder, you are going to get air trapped inside. So I don't know if that's going to affect my fill rate. I know on the platypus it does. When you have to keep the air out of there, and so you'll see, or if you've used it, you have to kind of move the air out of the clean bag. So it may be that you want to, not necessarily babysit, but come back to your loading bag to adjust or pull some of that air out of there so that the water can fill properly. So I just loosened the cap just ever so slightly, and all that air that had been inside just came right out, and it actually is filling a little bit faster. We're almost full, and we're just right on the 4-minute mark. So you can take that same attachment and apply it to this Nalgene, which I always carry an Nalgene. That's kind of what I do my like electrolyte replacement and other things like that. Okay, once you're full, just close down your valve, screw that off. Want to try and protect that so you don't get that in the soil or in the dirt. And I'm going to cap that right there. So 4 liters took about 4 minutes and 30 seconds, so just a smidge slower than the Katadyn. But man, even though I poo-pooed this earlier, sure was dang handy and very, very nice filling up that water bottle. I'm going to go ahead and fill up my Nalgene now. Last but not least is the Platypus. This is the GRAVITYWORKS. This is, I think, I don't know if this is the original, but for me, it was the first one that I saw, and very different than the other two we've talked about today, which is this goes from one bag, a dirty bag, to a clean bag versus a single bag that you then put into your water storage container. Don't let that inhibit you. I mean, don't think that this is going to add a bunch of weight or a bunch of bulk. I've used this extensively in Colorado, in the backcountry, and other places. This is really a nice system. This is the 4 liter. They have a 6 liter and a 2 liter. I think the 2 liter is worthless in my opinion. And I think the 6 liter is really more where it should be at for multiple people. This one's unique because it's got a zipper, like a super bomber zipper on the top for sealing it up. And then you can load it and carry it just like I did the other two. There we go, super easy. I'm just gonna seal that up. A little bit of effort, but literally about the same amount of time or even less than the roll top for the other two models. Once you've got your dirty water, I've just come away from the water source a little bit. I wanna show you a third way, or really some of the way that I end up using the Platypus. You can hang it. It's got this, this strap like the other two. You can unclip this guy, wrap it around a branch like on one of these little trees and hang it. But I'm actually gonna do something where I literally just lay it on the ground. I'm gonna use gravity down this little slope to fill the clean bag, and the line coming through. Remember to cinch this guy down when you're ready to go. You can leave it open since it's really, you don't need it. What you're going to see is sometimes the clean bag will get some air pockets into it. So I'm gonna keep that on the uphill, and then every once in a while I may just open that up and bleed some of that air out. This also has a clip, so if you're connecting this to a tree and then to one limb maybe, and then this one to the higher limb, you can go ahead and do that. So let's connect this guy. I'm gonna do the quick connect. I instantly see water flowing right through the top there, and I've got water coming down into the clean bag already. Super fast. So again, this system, I'm just using the side of the hill. A lot of people think that you've got to hang this in somewhere. If you're in a situation where you're hunting above tree line, this thing's perfect. It really is. Because this is a clean bag, I don't necessarily need to fill up my Sea to Summit or Nalgene. I have done multiple situations where sometimes I'll pull this off, the hose off the clean bag, and I'll run it directly into my other bags. Then I'll fill the clean bag. Then I'll fill the dirty bag and bring the dirty bag back to camp. So I can take this system where it has 8 liter capacity between the clean and the dirty. I can fill up all my bags at the water source, and then come back to camp with an additional 4 liters that I can utilize later. You can certainly do that with the Katadyn, and you can certainly do that with the MSR. This is just a little bit different system, and I really like it. I mean, this is some simple, not very much added weight, like I said before, or just for the sake of showing how versatile this is, I'm gonna unclip that. I'm gonna wrap it around this tree, above these tree branches, and I'm just gonna suspend that, give gravity a little bit more help, or give the bag more help. Gravity doesn't need any help on that. Yeah, about almost 2.5 minutes, and about 2 liters. So the rate on the Platypus that it talks about is 1.5 liters per minute. So MSR at 1.7, and then the Katadyn at 2 liters. I don't really particularly feel like speed is something I want to measure off of personally, but if that's important to you, certainly that's something for you to consider. All right, the last little bit of water. So 5 minutes and about 40 seconds for the 4 liters on the Platypus. Little slow, there's no doubt about it. But the one benefit I really, really like about the Platypus system is totally set it and forget it. You can walk away, you can attend to other things. Once this bag fills, she's done. It's not gonna flow anymore, it's not gonna overflow. You're not gonna lose water that you've maybe pulled off. I mean, I've had water sources that are literally trickles that I'm running like Pro Bar wrappers off of something and dripping into it. I always take a little piece of plumbing hose into the backcountry and a little piece of like sprinkler hose, the firm white line. I take those two simply because you never know when you're gonna have to really tap into like a drip or a little dribble, or even like just a little pool that you've dug out and to load up your water filtration system. So in summary, I hope this video has been useful as we've shown kind of how to use and how each of these gravity filters, the MSR, AUTOFLOW, the XL, the Platypus GRAVITYWORKS, or the Katadyn BEFREE gravity filter, all a little different, all unique in their own sort of way. 2 things I'll say. Number 1, I've used the Katadyn. Well, the Katadyn I've used quite a bit. The Platypus I've used extensively, and the MSR is pretty new to me. I think because the MSR is new to me, I'm interested in giving it a whirl this year and taking this as my filter system into the backcountry. I do really like, I know I was a bit like on the adapter. It sure is nice, and it does come with standard. That Platypus does have the adapters that you can buy separate, or some of the kits do include it. This one doesn't have it. But I probably will use this MSR this year. I do like the idea of an external filter, even though the Katadyn is a very small filter. There's not a lot to it, and it's very easy to clean. I still do really like this, and I'll continue to use it. If I had one that I just absolutely had to choose, I couldn't do another one, I would probably go Platypus, mostly because of the versatility of the dual bag, as well as the ability to basically, like you saw me, lay it on the ground, which you could do with the others, but the set it and forget it feature of I can attend to other things, because I have done that multiple times while I've been hunting. So all 3 of these would be ideal. They're probably a little much for a single person, unless you want to filter water. If you're hunting in a location where you're filtering water and then you're transporting water over a long distance, absolutely. These guys are the way to go. If that's the way you're hunting, 1 or 2 people, I think this would be ideal. You could go on the 6 liter version, and even on the 4 liter version, but on these 2 with a 10 liter bag, you could do up to 3, 4, and maybe even 5 people. Once I get past 4 people in a group, I'm not gonna hunt with more than 4 people because there's too many people in the backcountry. But B, if you are, and you see things a little different than me, which is totally fine, you can, I would probably go with a second, A as a backup, and B just for capacity reasons, and if your crew of people divide and conquer. So hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions about these filters or want to check these out, look at blackovis.com, comment below, or hit us up with our customer service. One of our gear guides can get you into the right gear that you need for this year's hunt.